Welcome to this video where we have a look how we can constrain geometry in 2D sketch mode of Autodesk Fusion. In the previous video we saw these icons pop up. This is a horizontal icon, this is a parallel icon, and this is a perpendicular icon, and they were the result of inference snapping. This line does not have any icons, which means I can pick up this point and this line is totally free to move around. I can, with the inference snapping, make it a horizontal line by letting go my mouse right now. This is the horizontal icon. Look what happened. I cannot freely move it anymore. It is constrained to being a horizontal line. Similar with this perpendicular icon, this point cannot be moved on an angle because it is perpendicular to the line it is attached to. You can, by the way, delete these icons. If I click on it, yeah, it's hard to see maybe, and now delete it, it's gone. If I now try to move this point, I can freely, oops, I cannot grab it, I can freely move it around until with the inference snapping it snaps again. Now it is a vertical line. These are called constraints, and they can also be made after the fact. We can introduce constraints in existing geometry. Here they are, the constraints. You can either click on the toolbar or find them in this drop-down menu, and there also is a little text that explains what it is doing. Let's try it out. I click this line and then click the icon, and indeed that line became vertical. And I can also immediately click that line and it becomes horizontal. What you could also do is first select all the lines you want to affect. Let me click this and then press Shift on the keyboard for multiple selection. I can select only 2 because I have only 2, but you could select 12 and then click the horizontal vertical icon. Note, by the way, that some of the constraints are now grayed out. With multiple selection, not everything is possible, but horizontal vertical, that seems to be possible. If I click it now, it acts on both my selected lines at the same time. The help text says I can also constrain 2 points. Well, let's try that out. Let me select this point and hold Shift and then select the second point. And indeed, the icon is not grayed out. If I click it, what it does, it puts both points on the horizontal line. I can still move them. Let me click this one and move it around. Yeah, but we see that they are sort of horizontally glued together. Let's now try to make these two lines perpendicular to each other. I click the perpendicular icon. Select the first line and then select the second line, and oh, I see that the second line seems to be the one that is going to move. Well, let's try that out. Let me Ctrl Z and do it again, perpendicular, and now click this one first and that one last. Yes, now that is the one that is going to move. I don't know about you, but I always tend to forget these kind of things. And there's a little helper, which is this lock. If I click the lock, I can fix a line or a complete object. Let me fix this line. It changes color. And if I now click the perpendicular constraint tool and select both of these lines, I know that the fixed one will stay in place. And that indeed seems to happen. So this lock can be your friend. Let me unlock this one again. You can temporarily fix some part of your geometry. The parallel constraint, it can make 2 lines parallel. Let me click it and then select the top line first and then the bottom line last, and then the bottom line is the one that moves. Let me undo this with Ctrl Z. Let's do it again. parallel. And now let's click the bottom line first and the top line last. Yeah, then the top line is the one that moves. The equal constraint takes care that two objects get a similar size. Let's try that out. I click it, the top line first and then the bottom line. And now the bottom line gets the same length as the top line. Let me Ctrl Z and Ctrl Z again. Yeah, and let's now do it again. Click the equal constraint, but now first the bottom line and then the top line. And then the top line gets the same length as the bottom line. So also here, the last one that we click, that's the one that is going to change. Oh, let's see if this really works if I now try to move this point. Ah, yeah, I see both lines have the same length, but it's a bit surprising that they move in opposite directions. But yeah, we can still move the lines around, can't we? It seems to work. The coincident constraint either glues two points together or glues a point to a line. Let's try it out. Click. Let me click the first point. That's that one. And the second point. Oh, that did not work. Maybe I did not click the first one right. Yeah, and the last one I clicked, that again was the one that moved. Let's try that again. Ctrl Z. Let me click it again. And now I click the top one first. Yeah, I tried. Yeah, now it seems to have clicked. And then the bottom one. And then the last one I click is the one that moves. These points are now glued together. It promised it can also glue a point to a line. Let's try that out. I click the constraint icon, click this point, and then click this line. Yeah, that is the one that moves. Let's see if they are now glued together. I can move this line. Yeah, the point is glued to the line, as we can see. And also here, if I move this around, yeah, that seems to have worked perfectly well. The tangent constraint makes two curves touch but not cross. Let me click it, and let's first click this circle and then this line. The line is the one that moves. Okay. Let's click this circle and that same line. Let's see what happens. Ah, then it moves the circle. Okay. And let me now click this circle and this circle. And then it moves that circle and everything is tangent now. So you can attach circles to lines or curves or circles together. Everything is possible. It works like a charm. Midpoint constrains a point or a complete object to the midpoint of another object. Well, let's try it. I click the icon. Let me click this point because I need a point, and then click this line and it is going to find the midpoint of that line. Well, that seems to have worked. Okay, now that the tool is active, let's do this one too. Why not? And there we have them. They are now glued to the midpoint. Let's see if that is really correct. If I move this line, yeah, my circles stay glued to that midpoint. Concentric glues the center points of circles, ellipses or arcs together. Let's try it out. Click the icon, click the first circle, then click the second, and I assume the second is the one that is going to move. Yes, it is. Let me Ctrl Z and let's just check that out. Let me hit the concentric icon again. Now this circle first and this circle second. Yeah, the second one, that's the one that is going to move. The collinear constraint can put objects on the same line. Let me click it and first click this line, second click this line. Yeah, it moved that whole object to that same bottom line. Let's do it again. Click this line, click that line. Yeah, that also worked. Let me hit escape to leave the tool, and well, let's try to move this line now. Yeah, it is clearly glued together. Symmetry constrains two or more objects to be symmetrical along a line. I click it, I select a circle and another circle and then the line. And indeed, these two circles seem to be symmetrical along this line. I can try to move one and that also moves the other one. Let's do it again. Click Symmetry. I'm going to click this point and also this point and again this line. And now those 2 points are symmetrical, glued together. Yeah, that seems to work. The left line is moving completely. The right line seems to be glued to that point. I don't know why that is. The final constraint is curvature. It can smoothly align to objects. One is a spline, one has to be a spline, and the other in this case is a line. This is our line. Let me click curvature. Let me click the spline. Oh, that is already clicked. Let me click the line, and it now creates a smooth transition between the spline and the line. I seldom use it. I actually never use it. Why not? Because if I click this spline, we have these helper lines, and I simply move that helper line over there, and I even have some more control on how exactly I want it to handle. This was it about all the 12 constraints, and maybe see you back in the next video. In the meantime, have fun.